Are you interested in effortlessly growing your Bitcoin portfolio? I sure am. The Bitcoin credit card by Gemini earns you Bitcoin back on every purchase. Use it like any credit card. Buy lunch, gas, or your weekly groceries, and you'll earn up to 4% back instantly in Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos straight to your account. All that with no annual fee. And right now, you can grab a $200 Bitcoin welcome bonus. It's the easiest way to start building your Bitcoin stack. Go to Gemini.com/card to learn more. Terms apply. See the link in the description for more information regarding rates and fees.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
A warm and friendly hello. Welcome to lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. We have an excellent podcast for you as we're going to be joined in segment number 2 by William Boor of Action Network. He does a tremendous job taking a look at this great game that we all know and love of baseball. We have to unpack what we all saw in game number 162 of the season. The playoff picture is now set, so are there any teams that he's feeling bullish/bearish on? Is it better to just go game to game with regards to this postseason? Are there any futures that he's liking? We're going to be talking about that and so much more. In the final segment, typically I give you guys picks and analysis on every game on the betting board. Well, we don't have any games on the betting board for Monday, but I'm going to talk to you about why I think that just betting game to game rather than looking at futures and looking at anything else is just so much better, especially in this year of the postseason. For those of you guys that have been longtime listeners to the podcast, for one, very much appreciate it. Thank you. And two, you know me, I'm very much a game to game guy. I am not a futures guy. And I know there are some people that put that under ridicule. There are some people that love that. I really think that this is a year where you want absolutely no part of futures whatsoever with how murky it's been. So I'm going to be talking about that, and then we'll get you guys the picks and analysis, the write-ups. Those are all going to be coming your way in 24 hours, so have no fear there. Just couldn't really dive in with regards to game ones because a lot of TBD, a lot of strangeness happened in 162 with a lot of teams that maybe we're going to be throwing starters for game number 1 of a wild card round. Well, they had to throw those guys in relief on Sunday. So how about if we unpack everything that we saw in baseball on Sunday here in a second, but everything on the podcast today that is powered by EdgeBoost. EdgeBoost is making sure that bettors are able to have access to their funds whenever and wherever. With EdgeBoost, 100% of gambling transactions do indeed get approved. And when you go to edgeboost.bet, make sure you utilize that promo code of Greg, G-R-E-G. That'll get you $1 for $1 match on your first deposit up to $25. Now let's recap everything that we saw in baseball on Sunday. Try to find some trends and try to get to know these teams a little bit better.
Games from yesterday is Greg buzzing about. Here is the rowdy recap.
If you're a fan of the New York Mets, I apologize. If you're not a fan of the New York Mets, you thoroughly enjoyed what happened on Sunday. The Mets, they do not get the job done against the Miami Marlins. They get shut out by a count of 4-0. Edgar Cabrera, a rock-solid start, 7 punch-outs and 5 scoreless innings. Kate Gibson, Ronnie Enriquez from there, a pair of scoreless innings between the two of them. Calvin Fauché, Tyler Phillips, they both lend a scoreless inning. Sean Manaea gets the start in this one. Pulled after 5 outs. He did allow a pair of walks, but he had 3 strikeouts, and from there it became a piecemeal game. Oscar Brzobin, a scoreless inning. Brooks Raley, he takes a loss. He gives up a run in 2/3 of an inning as the Marlins get all 4 runs in the 4th inning. And the Mets, by the way, 0 of 8 with runners in scoring position with 10 men on base, left on base. Ryan Stanek, 2 runs allowed in 1/3 of an inning. You had Tyler Rogers give up a run in 1/3 of an inning. Edwin Diaz came on to pitch the 5th and 6th innings, 2 scoreless innings out of him. Ryan Elsley, Gregory Soto both give you a scoreless inning, but mismanagement by the Mets, and that meant that the Reds made the playoffs, and the Reds, they did not get the job done themselves against the Milwaukee Brewers, but congratulations to them getting to the postseason. They close up the regular season as by far your best under team in all baseball for the Reds. 92 unders, 60 overs, and 10 pushes. Brewers get the win by a count of 4-2. Freddie Peralta, not long for this game, gives up a solo home run in his 2 innings of work, and then D.L. Turn-It-Up Hall, he gave up a solo home run in his inning of work. T.J. Friedel, 14th home run season. Ellie De La Cruz, his 22nd, and the rest of the Brewers bullpen really good. Trevor McGill, Chad Patrick, Jared Koenig, Abner Uribe, all end a scoreless inning. Aaron Ashby, 2 scoreless innings. Brewers do leave 12 men on base, but Danny Jansen is able to go deep off of Brady Singer, 14th home run of the season. Singer was singing the blues on this one. 1, 3 runs allowed in 3 1/3 innings. Bullpen from there was solid. They actually threw Nick Lodolo out of the bullpen, so interesting to see how he fares with regards to the postseason series against the LA Dodgers. Gives up a run in his inning of work. Chase Burns, 5 outs out of the bullpen scoreless. Scott Barlow and Connor Phillips both on the scoreless inning, but the Reds, they do indeed make the postseason. The Dodgers are in the postseason as well. They take down the Seattle Mariners by a count of 6-1 as Clayton Kershaw, rock solid start here. 5 1/3 innings scoreless. Landon Knack in long relief gives up 1 run in 3 2/3 innings, and trio bombs for the LA Dodgers as Hyun-Sung Kim, third home run of the campaign. That comes off of Bryce Miller. Miller also gives one up to our Freddie Freeman, 24th home run season, and Shohei Ohtani, he's going to be your National League MVP, 55th home run season off of Gabe Spire. Spire gives up that home run in his inning of work for Miller. 4 runs allowed in 4 innings. Caleb Ferguson from there, 2 scoreless innings. Edward Bizardo gives up a run in 2/3 inning, and Luke Jackson, 4 outs out of the bullpen scoreless. But Seattle, they do indeed make the postseason, and the Diamondbacks, like 96 hours ago, they were right in the thick of the wild card race. They finished below 500. They get lambasted by the San Diego Padres by a count of 12-4. As for Brandon Pfaadt, he tried to battle his way through and he did not. 8 runs, 7 of which were earned, given up in 4 innings, including a home run. Gave up a 5 spot in the first inning as Manny Machado got his 27th home run of the season. From there, you had Philip Abner give up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Juan Murillo, and out of the bullpen scoreless, John Curtis with 2 S's, scoreless inning. And then you had Bryce Jarvis give you 4 outs out of the bullpen scoreless, and Brandon Garcia, he came on for a pair of outs, gave up 3 runs. Ketel Marte of the Marte Party does get his 28th home run season. That comes off of JP Sears, who in 5 2/3 innings allowed 2 runs. Randy Vasquez does give up 2 runs in his inning work, but David Morgan is scoreless inning, and then you had Bradley Rodriguez come in for 4 outs out of the bullpen scoreless as well. Charlie Martin makes his last career start for the Atlanta Braves. They had him go only 4 outs before Chris Sale relieved him from there. And Chris Sale, in a bulk roll, 5 2/3 innings, allows 1 run. For Morton, he was able to turn a double play. 1 1/3 inning scoreless, got a really nice standing ovation, and the Atlanta Braves did get the win by a count of 4-1. Tyler Kinley, Raciel Iglesias, both led a scoreless inning, and Ronald Acuna Jr. in the first inning to make it memorable for Charlie Morton. 21st home run of the season. That comes off of You Don't Miss with the Johan Oviedo, who did get messed with for that home run. 2 runs allowed in 5 innings. From there, you'd add Yohan Ramirez, also get messed with, 2 runs, 1 of which was earned, give it up in his inning of work. Hunter Barco was able to give you 2 scoreless innings, but nothing doing for the Pirates. At the plate, they end as your second best under team in all of baseball. 92 unders, 64 overs, and 6 pushes. Your best over team in all of baseball, by the way, that was the aforementioned Seattle Mariners, 88 overs, 69 unders, and 5 pushes. Second best was the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays certainly did put a hurting on the Tampa Bay Rays. 13-4. Final in this one. As for the Rays, Ian Seymour gives up 6 runs to 3 1/3 innings, including home run. For the Blue Jays, you had George Springer go deep. That was a little bit later on in the game. 32nd home run of the season. The home run that Seymour gave up, don't call his name, Alejandro Kirk, a grand slam. 14th home run of the season. Then he would also go deep. Kirk would off of Edwin Uceta for his 15th home run of the season. Edison Barger off of Kevin Kelly, his 21st home run of the season. For the Rays bullpen, much of the same. Edwin Uceta, 2 runs allowed, give it up in 1 2/3 innings. Kelly gives up 4 runs while getting 5 outs out of the bullpen. Brian Baker gives up his home run in 1 1/3 innings. And for the Blue Jays, you had Kevin Gausman only give 3 2/3 innings. He allowed 4 runs, but the bullpen had his back. You had from there Mason Flaherty give you 4 outs out of the bullpen scoreless. Louis Varland, Brandon Little, Braden Fisher, Eric Lauer. They're all able to complete a scoreless inning. The Astros are not going to the postseason, but they do end the season with a win, 6-2 the final. Lance McCullers Jr., 3 innings. He gives up a solo home run along the way. Going deep for the LA Angels, Mike Trout, 26th home run of the season. From there, Colton Gordon, 5 scoreless innings of long relief. Jaden Murray allows a run in an inning, and for the Astros, too little too late, but they had the deep ball working in this one. Ramon Urias, his 11th home run of the season. For Yenny Urias, his 20th home run of the season. You would have Victor Carantini get home run number 12 of the campaign, and then home run number 4 of the season for Bryce Matthews, as this was not what Sam Aldigiri was looking for. A pair of bombs allowed, 4 runs allowed in 4 2/3 innings. From there, Connor Brogdon gives up 2 runs in 1 1/3 innings. Ryan Zephyrian, Sam Bachman, and Sammy Peralta all in scoreless innings, but way too little, way too late there. For the Kansas City Royals, too little, too late, but they did put a nice number up on the Athletics. 9-2 the final as Cole Reagans, last start of the season, very good. 8 punch-outs, 4 1/3 innings, encouraging for 2026. Sammy Long does give up 2 runs in an inning, as going deep off of him for the Athletics, Nick Kurtz, he's going to win Rookie of the Year, 36th home run of the campaign. From there, you'd have Steven Cruz giving it out of the bullpen scoreless. Daniel Lynch, 2 1/3 innings scoreless. Luinder Avila, a scoreless inning. And for the Athletics, they had Brady Basso as the opener, give up 1 run in 1 1/3 innings. Tyler Ferguson, pair of outs out of the bullpen scoreless. Elvis Alvarado in the building for a scoreless inning. Mitch Spence from there gives up 3 runs in 3 innings. Michael Kelly, 3 runs, 2 of which weren't in a third of an inning as he allowed a pair of bombs, as well as Obito, 2 runs allowed in 1 2/3 innings. He allowed a home run as well before Scott McGough gave you a scoreless inning. For the Royals, you had Mike Yastrzemski to go deep twice, 16th and 17th home runs of the season. And how about the nice end of the season for one of their young guys, Carter Jensen, his 3rd home run season and his 3rd home run in the month of September. So a little bit encouraging there for the Rockies. Not much encouragement towards back half of the season. They finish with 119 losses. They get shut out by the San Francisco Giants by a count of 4-0 as McCade Brown, he gives up 2 solo home runs over the course of his 3 innings of work. Going deep for San Francisco, Willie Adames, the 30th home run season. Rafael Devers in game 163 of the season for him because he got traded from the Red Sox. His 35th. From there, the bullpen was not too bad. Antonio Senzatella, Jaden Nill, both lend a scoreless inning. Zach Ognos, Luis Peralta combined for 2 scoreless innings. Juan Mejia gives up 2 unearned runs in an inning. He was hurt by an Ezekiel Tovar throwing error. And for Logan Webb, nice start here. 5 1/3 innings, scoreless, 8 punch-outs. So he got to, I believe, 200 punch-outs for the season. Jose Buto from there. Pair of outside the bullpen scoreless. Tristan Beck, 8 scoreless inning. And Spencer Bivens, scoreless 8th and 9th innings to be able to get that one to the window. For the Phillies, they get to the window as well, 2-1. They're able to take down the Minnesota Twins. For the Twins, Simeon Woods Richardson, actually a really good start. 9 punch-outs, 1 hit allowed in 6 scoreless innings. From there, Anthony Bachevich, Travis Adams, they combine for a scoreless inning. Genesis Cabrera, though, gives up a home run in his inning of work as you had Max Kepler get his 18th home run season. Cole Sands, he makes some pound sands for a scoreless inning, and then you had in the 10th inning an unearned run given up by Cody Lawyerson that costed him the game in 2/3 of an inning. Nick Castellanos, a sacrifice fly to be able to walk it off. And for the Twins, 0 of 9 with men in scoring position. As for the Phillies, Christopher Sanchez, he's going to get some nice rest because the Phillies have a bye. 5 2/3 inning scoreless just continues to roll. Lou Trevino does give up a run in a third of an inning. Taiwan Walker, Daniel Robertson, Tanner Banks, and Orion Kirkering all end scoreless innings to be able to get that one in 10 innings. And the White Sox close out the season with a win, 8-0 the final, as you had Shane Smith look really good in this one. 1 hit allowed in 6 scoreless innings. Tyler Alexander, Jordan Leisure, Jonathan Cannon all end a scoreless inning. And for the White Sox, they had a trio of bombs as Dominic Fletcher, his 1st home run of the season. Brooks Baldwin is 11th home run of the season, and you had Miguel Vargas get home run number 16 of the campaign. Brad Lord gave up all 3 of those home runs. Oh, Lord, him giving up 5 runs over the course of 4 innings. Shukuski Ogasara, 2 runs allowed in a third of an inning. Jackson Rutledge, a scoreless inning. You had Sarman Lau give you a scoreless inning. PJ Poulin, pair of outside the bullpen scoreless, and then Mitchell Parker in long relief. He gives up 1 run over the course of 2 innings. The Yankees are going to be playing the Red Sox in the wild card round. I believe that I mentioned with William Boor that they were going to get the bye, but that did not happen with the way that the tiebreakers worked out. But with the Yankees 3-2, they're able to take down the Baltimore Orioles as Kyle Bradish. Pretty solid start, 2 runs allowed. He only went 4 innings though and did give up home run to Ben Rice. Home runs 25 and 26 of the campaign as he had the difference maker off of Rico Garcia. Did not throw the ball over the mountains, but he threw it over the plate for that home run. He gives up that home run in 1 1/3 innings of work. Kate Stout in out of the bullpen squirrels. Dean Kramer for outside the bullpen squirrels, and Keegan Aiken a squirrels inning for the Orioles. Pair of home runs off of Luis Eel, Jordan Westberg, and Gunnar Anderson both got their 17th home runs of the season. Eel gives up those 2 solo home runs in 5 innings of work. Fernando Cruz, Luke Weaver, Devin Williams, David Benner are able to give you a scoreless inning, and you're able to have a lot of scoreless innings in this one. As for the Chicago Cubs, they take down the St. Louis Cardinals by a count of 2-0. For the Cardinals, Kyle Lee as a starter, 3 scoreless innings. John King was not the king from there. He gives up a solo home run in 1 2/3 innings of work. Matt Savanson, 4 outside the bullpen scoreless. Ryan Fernandez gives up an unearned run in his inning of work, and then Riley O'Brien, he was able to turn a scoreless inning. Going deep for the Cubs, Seiya Suzuki, oh, I see you, getting home run number 32 of the campaign, and Aviad Assad, 5 1/3 innings scoreless. Michael Soroka, a pair of outside the bullpen scoreless, and Jordan Wicks was able to complete 3 scoreless innings. And you also had the Cleveland Guardians managed to polish things off for their playoff spot. They will be hosting the Detroit Tigers in the postseason, 9-8 in 10 innings against the Walker Texas Rangers as Patrick Corbin lands just 4 innings, giving up 3 runs. From there, Danny Kalum, a scoreless inning. Hobie Milner gives up a home run in 1 1/3 innings. Luis Carvello, he gives up a run in an inning, and then pitching in the 9th and 10th inning, Jose Cornel, hopefully I said that correct, in his MLB debut, he gave up 4 runs, 3 of which weren't. That was not great to say the least. Rowdy Tellez going deep in the 10th inning was great though. 17th home run season closing off of Zach Kent as you saw a combined 7 runs in the 10th inning in this one, so that was some good, clean family fun. It was going to be going over anyway, but Logan Allen, not what they were looking for the Cleveland Guardians. 4 runs allowed in 4 and a third innings. Matt Festa, he did have a fiesta, 5 outs out of the bullpen scoreless. Kobe Allard, 2 scoreless innings, and then Kent gives up 3 runs, 2 over to earn across the 9th and 10th innings, but the Cleveland Guardians find a way to walk it off with Brian Rocchio, walk-off home run, 5th home run of the campaign, and John Kenzie Noel off of Phobie Milner. He was able to get home run number 6 of the campaign, and that does it now for the regular season. And if you're looking at what we all saw in terms of the regular season in the baseball landscape, and have no fear, I'm going to be with you guys every single day on this podcast throughout the postseason, so don't think that things are over just because the regular season is over. But that said, we saw the under hit at 51.5%, 1,195 unders to 1,124 overs. Moneyline favorites during the regular season at 56.6%, 13.56, and 10.41. If you look at the last 7 days in baseball, favorites hit at about 59.3%, 54 and 37 on the money line, while the under was sitting at 59%, 52 unders to 36 overs. And if you look at the last 30 days in Major League Baseball, was quite a bit of a slog for favorites, hitting at just 54.2%, 221 and 187 on the money line. Meanwhile, the under rate hitting at about 53% here in the last 30 days, 212 unders to 187 overs. So that's what we're all seeing in baseball right now. Those are the trends that we're getting in baseball. Once again, do not think that I will be backing off on this podcast just because we don't have games on Monday. In the final segment, I'm going to be talking about, well, I do advise a lot more game-to-game betting this year rather than futures betting, just because, man, it's a murky futures market, and we're going to talk about these teams, how things are looking for the postseason, and so much more with our good friend William Boor of Action Network on the flip side here on the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now a part of the VSiN Family Podcast.
Did you know your credit card points and miles can lose value to inflation? Credit card companies often reduce the redemption value of your points and miles. Now imagine a credit card with rewards that can grow in value. With the Gemini credit card, you can earn Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos instantly with no annual fee. Every swipe at the store or gas pump earns you instant rewards deposited straight to your account. Plus, sign up now for a $200 Bitcoin bonus to kickstart your rewards. Visit Gemini.com/card today. Check out the link in the description for more information on rates and fees. Again, if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin but don't know where to start, the Gemini credit card makes it easy.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Always great to be joined by this man, as we've got William Boor aboard. He does such a tremendous job over at Action, and we're taking a look at a little bit of everything, whether he's taking a look at baseball, whether he's taking a look at what we're all getting on the football front, and so much more. He does so much excellent work. You're able to catch him on the old Twitter/X at the first letter of his first name, the letter W, last name Boor, Boor, all together. And William, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Of course, Greg. Thanks for having me. Always happy to hop on.
Always great to have you aboard. And William, a little bit too early to be speculating about game 1 of the wild card round, just because we are unsure of what we're going to be getting there, as everything was very much up in the air going into game number 162 on Sunday. But just what did you make of the Mets completely collapsing and relinquishing what looked to be a surefire playoff spot to the Cincinnati Reds, and what I think is one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen in baseball?
This is wild. I cannot believe the Mets collapsed like this. And also on the flip side of that, great, awesome for the Reds. I think they were a team that they were fun all year before the season. Like, you really like, Francona, and you really like some of their pieces, but you kind of thought they were a year away. I mean, I still think they are. Like, I'm not picking them to win or whatever, but I think to take this team and get to the playoffs is a massive step. And, it's really good for their fans. This is going to be really fun to see them in the wild card round. But you asked about the Mets, and for the first, 2 months of the season, the Mets were the best team in baseball. And it's just a long season, and they could not figure it out. This is an epic collapse, and it is insane. But it happens.
Yep, it certainly has happened. I mean, man, just a lot of fun in terms of what we got in terms of that. But the Reds, they are now going to be facing off against the LA Dodgers with regards to the wild card round. And as of right now, it's TBD as to the Reds who they're going to be throwing. You would probably think Hunter Green, but he was warming up in the bullpen in that game on Sunday against the Milwaukee Brewers. They had to actually throw Nick Lodolo in a little bit of relief as well. But I feel like this could be relatively dangerous because for the LA Dodgers, they are a team with the biggest payroll now in the postseason. They regained that moniker. And certainly for the Dodgers, they've been better ever since Max Muncy has come back in the fold. But with this Dodgers team as well, it's still a 3-game wild card. And I even go back to a few years ago when they were in that 1-game wild card back in that old format against the St. Louis Cardinals. They had won 100 plus games that season in 2021, and the Cardinals very nearly knocked them out. I remember they needed like a walk-off homer, and I think that was like either a 1-0 or a 2-1 game.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Dodgers are going to be favored. They should be favored. But if I have a short 3-game series, very small sample size, and I have questionable pitching, like as a Dodgers fan, I would not feel good about that. That's not a spot you want to be. Having the better roster provides a certain percentage of comfort, but it's obviously not everything, and it's scary over a quick 3-game thing. If the Dodgers and the Reds were about to play a best of 15, I wouldn't even sweat it. But 3 games, whether it's game 1 or, maybe 2, like Hunter Green's going to start one of them. What if Hunter Green shuts down the Dodgers for 6 innings of 1-run ball? All of a sudden, you've got Dodgers bullpen versus Reds, and things could get dicey really fast.
Yep, they certainly can, and that's going to be just a really exciting series. Again, you would expect Hunter Green to be going in game number 1, but I'm not going to say that for sure because he was going in the bullpen, so that is something to very much be mindful of as William Boor does such great work over at Action Network, joining me on the Baseball Betting Show. And I just really feel like this entire American League picture is very wide open where the Astros, who they had made the ALCS for such a long time before that came to an end last year. It was either 7 or 8 straight years. They're now out of the playoffs, and I just take a look at this entire playoff picture right now out there in the American League, and man, it feels as wide open gets.
Yeah, I think with the way they finished the season, the past 2 or 3 weeks, I really like the spot Seattle's in right now, but I don't think they're necessarily an overwhelming favorite or anything like that. I mean, Toronto finished the season hot too. Red Sox have been surging a little bit, playing a little bit better. I think the AL, actually, I think both leagues, I think they're going to be fun. If I had to make a World Series prediction right now, I probably am grabbing Seattle. I just like the way that roster is constructed. I like the way they're playing of late, but I do think we're in for a really fun postseason that's probably not going to go straight forward.
Yep, absolutely. And how do we just decipher the Cleveland Guardians, a team that they were able to get really hot towards back half of the season as well? But I am for the Cleveland Guardians. They get in on Saturday on a walk-off hit by pitch. We all remember that series that they had against the Detroit Tigers where Tariq Skubal essentially hiked the game away that they really, really needed. And I mean, this is a Cleveland Guardians team that they're just it feels like they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. They have no offense, and somehow, some way, here they are once again in the playoffs as one of the most consistent teams over the last, we're going to call it 10 or so years of making the postseason. They seem weak with regards to looking at the metrics. They had a negative run differential during the regular season, but they've played some of the best baseball here down the stretch.
I don't know what to do with them because of everything you said. I mean, the fact that they're going to go into the playoffs with a negative run differential, an expected win-loss that should be right around 500, it's baffling. Is there a team hotter in baseball than them right now? Probably not. But also, we did watch 130 games of them just being blah. So, and even in this hot streak, it's not like they're scoring 12 runs. We're talking about walk-off hit by pitches. We're talking about infield single, bloop between the shortstop and the left fielder for 2 runs. It's the most absurd thing ever. I'm probably going to stay away from them in the wild card round and just see what happens. If they advance, and I don't know, then I'll deal with it then. But they're just such a weird team where it's I don't actually think they're good, but they keep winning. You can't deny the results.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting to be taking a look at them. And how much this year is it a case where you want to be looking much more game to game rather than futures based? Because I am very much a guy that I go game to game to start with. This is something that I feel like is up my wheelhouse. But even when I talk to a lot of people that love to do futures, they love to be able to grab some of those long shots, even they, it feels like, have absolutely no idea what to do with this playoff picture this year.
Yeah, this would be a tough one for futures. I typically like to bet the series in the playoffs and then maybe bet game to game later as a way to either hedge or double down depending on later. But yeah, if I was going to do futures, this is tricky. I'd have to, once the field's set, look at the numbers and see if something jumps out. But there's not a team that you feel super great about right now that's head and shoulders above anyone else or anything like that. Like the Dodgers roster obviously stands out. You've got the pitching. The Guardians are hot as heck right now, but like I don't think people think they're like a serious contender. You go to the other side, the Brewers, it's kind of like they've played good all year. There's nothing necessarily like wrong with them, but I think there's just kind of that perception of like, yeah, but they're the Brewers. There's a lot of like questions with every team, and it'll make it fun. But if you're trying to find value in the futures market, it definitely makes it tough.
And I do want to ask you about this team because we've hit upon most of the playoff teams thus far. We have not talked about this bunch, though. How do you take a look at the Philadelphia Phillies entering into the postseason? Because they do feel like the team that, if you're looking for the fewest warts, it might be with the Phillies. But at the same time, that Zach Wheeler injury looms large. The Trey Turner injury, they probably will be getting him back for the postseason, but that's a big giant concern as well. And we know with the Philadelphia Phillies, they have been a team all season long that they have played really, really well at home, but when they've been on the road, they've been a little bit suspect.
The Wheeler thing, absolutely massive, obviously. And I think that shied me away from them, a couple months ago when that happened. I was really high on them up until then. And like, they're still obviously good. But in the postseason, like, who's starting a game one? Like, you want to have Wheeler go out and throw 6 innings. The Turner thing's interesting. But like, when you win the division, you're going to get home field in a couple series. And as you mentioned, their splits are drastic. And also, I feel like in the postseason, like that stadium really likes October baseball. Citizens Bank in October is always an incredible atmosphere. Like, I think the Wheeler thing's tough. It could bite them in one spot. But I also am probably not betting against the Phillies at home in the postseason anytime soon.
Oh, absolutely. I do think that with the Philadelphia Phillies, they're in such a fun situation as well. And then we really haven't talked a lot about the New York Yankees as well, which I think that they're such an interesting team because, well, they made the World Series last year out there in the American League. So that's one good thing that they certainly have going for them. And with the Yankees, on any given day, they could trot out there a lineup of 9 guys have all hit at least 19 home runs this year. But you know this as well as I do. They've had one of the worst bullpens in all of baseball since the beginning of the month of July. Luke Weaver, since coming off the injury list, does not look like himself. Devin Williams has been one of the worst signings we've seen in quite some time, but what do you make out of this Yankees team where the starting pitching with Max Fried, Carlos Rodon is entering into the postseason really well? That 1-2 punch is good. Cam Schlittler has become a good number 3, but what are you going to be able to get after those guys? And as we know in postseason baseball, with the weather cooling down, those home runs that they might have gotten in July, they might not be getting in October.
The bullpen scares me. The streakiness and kind of boomer bust, like you were just talking about with the power, scares me as well. I think this is a team that, yeah, if they get hot and you told me that they go out and win game one because they hit 5 homers and scored 12 runs, I wouldn't be shocked. If you told me that, it was kind of cold on game one and they had 9 deep flyouts and only scored 1 run, I'd be like, yep, that's what happens to this kind of lineup. It's just a scary lineup construction. And then the bullpen, I just don't really like this team as far as the playoffs are concerned, as far as futures are concerned. But again, like they did make it to the World Series last year, so maybe they proved me wrong again. Also, just kind of, related but unrelated, the fact that we get Red Sox Yankees in the playoffs is awesome.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And when we can get more Red Sox versus Yankees, like you go back to 2004, obviously the epic 3-0 comeback. I may have had so many great series. Aaron Boone, obviously the home run that he hit, and now he's a manager. Yeah, that's always a lot of great fun as well. So that's going to be exciting. And just anything else that you're going to be looking to perhaps bet with regards to postseason, because we mentioned it, the futures are going to be relatively difficult. I know you're mentioning a little bit more series prices. Is there maybe some sort of an angle that you're going to be taking a look at a little bit more with this postseason than maybe you have in the past, just because it does feel like this postseason is just a little bit different than we've gotten in years past?
I think because of some of the teams, this will obviously be, price dependent, but I think some of the teams like, the Yankees, the Dodgers, I think I might do a lot of in-game betting where it's either overs or maybe a team to come back if you get, if the Dodgers are only up by one and they go to the pen and you can get the other side at, like a plus 280 or, something juicy or whatever, knowing that some of these pens have big question marks, it might make live betting really fun during the playoffs.
I think that is such a good point as well, especially if you get a less than trustworthy bullpen, like perhaps the Yankees get up 2-1 and they're throwing out their insert your favorite reliever here. For me, Devin Williams. I do think that there's a lot of value with regards to that. And we know that every pitch, every at-bat, it means a little bit more in the postseason, but I do think that could be a really good angle. And William, I know you're set for some postseason baseball. It's going to be a murky postseason, to say the least, because, well, this has been a very interesting season in general. I know that that's just the way that you like it. It's just the way that I like it. I know that you're also doing a great job on the college football front and so much more. So love to get people at home know what's on tap for you and how people can follow along on social media and other platforms.
Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at WBoor, WBOOR. I'm also in the Action Network app at William Boor _, all one word. The app will literally just be the picks. No analysis, no nonsense, just all the stuff you want. And then make sure you check out the Action Network app as well for everything me and my colleagues are doing. We will have betting previews for every single postseason game. We'll have WNBA picks. We've got college football picks, NFL picks. Obviously, college basketball is right around the corner. Hockey's starting. If you can bet it, we've got it covered for you.
Absolutely. And William, I know that he is so hard at work taking a look at this great game of baseball. Every single time he joins me, he lends such great insights, and he did so once again. So big thanks to William for joining me right here on the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Coming up next, typically this is where I give you picks and analysis on the board for today. Well, we don't have any games for today. Lots of TBD in terms of Game 1 starters, so I'm going to flesh out why you want to be going a little bit more game to game this year and might want to be gravitating away from the futures a little bit more. That's up next right here on the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Typically, this will be the part of the podcast where I give you picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for today, but we don't have any games on the betting board for today, and at the time of this podcast, it was a lot of TBD in terms of Game 1 starters because we saw a lot of hoopla on game number 162 for a lot of these teams. Teams are trying to figure out what they're all going to have in their bullpen, who's going to be starting Game 1, Game 2 of the wild card round, so we'll be getting you guys those picks and analysis for tomorrow. The VSiN write-ups, those will be back in about 24 hours as well, so have no fear there. But that said, I did want to take this final segment to just talk about why I'm not really in on futures. And you guys know me that have listened to this podcast over the last few years. I just never really have been a futures guy. I'm much more of someone that wants to boil things down to one game at a time, one play at a time. Just take everything as its own living, breathing entity, because trying to pretty much foretell the future is very difficult with injuries. You never know what is going to be happening, roadblocks that happen along the way, things of that nature. So I'm typically not in on futures to start with, but I feel like especially this year, this is just not the year that you want to be taking a look at too many futures. Like, you take a look at the futures board right now, and in a lot of places, you've got teams like the Philadelphia Phillies, Seattle Mariners, and LA Dodgers somewhere in the neighborhood of 4-1 to 5-1. You're just not getting a lot of bang for your buck. And even if you want to try to, like an exacta, like for example, maybe you think that the Red Sox and the Brewers will be facing off in the World Series or something like that, if you just individually bet each team to be able to win the American League and the National League, you're probably going to be able to get a little bit more money on it. I think that in a lot of places, you could probably just put in there like a 2 future parlay. There are some places that allow you to do that. You'll get much better money than if you tried to do it like an exact or anything like that. And if you just bet it individually, there's a good chance that maybe one of those teams make it, one of those teams don't. I feel like there's just such better ways to be taking a look at things because we have seen this baseball season. There is no dominance whatsoever. And maybe the LA Dodgers do turn out to be that team that we were all expecting towards the beginning part of the season. They turned it on because their big struggles came without Max Muncy in the lineup, and I know that he was a little bit banged up over the weekend, but should be good to go for the postseason. But there's just so much question mark with every one of these teams, like with the Dodgers, their bullpen, with the Seattle Mariners, they could be an all or nothing offense. Bryce Miller's not necessarily been too great for them. For the Blue Jays, their bullpen has been acting up. For the New York Yankees, you want to talk about a bad bullpen, man, that's rough. The Boston Red Sox, they're currently dealing with the Roman Anthony injury. The Detroit Tigers simply have not played great baseball in general. The Cleveland Guardians are a bottom 6 team in the big leagues in terms of run scoring. The Philadelphia Phillies are not going to have Zach Wheeler, and they've been dealing with injuries to the likes of Trey Turner. The Milwaukee Brewers, they're in the bottom half of the big leagues in terms of home runs on a per at-bat basis. The Cubs in general have not played great baseball here in the second half of the season. The Padres are in the bottom 5 of the big leagues in terms of their overall home runs on a per at-bat basis. The Cincinnati Reds are pretty much mid in everything. Like, you just take a look at every one of these teams in Major League Baseball, and all of them are flawed. Like, I think that this is really the year where you want to be taking a look at things game by game. I think that that'll be the best way to be able to extract value because there's just really no telling what you're going to be able to get this baseball season. All these teams have been very streaky, up, down, all around. Like the Brewers, who have the most wins in all of baseball. I'm a Wisconsin sports fan. I grew up in the lovely city of Appleton/Hortonville, Wisconsin, so I can tell you right now all the disappointments that the Milwaukee Brewers have had trying to get back to the World Series for the first time since 1982, so there's that aspect of things. I really think that this is the year that you take a look at things as its own living, breathing entity. Sure, maybe you feel good about a team for a 3-game wildcard series, what have you, and if you really want to play futures, just rolling over series bets, I think it's going to be able to provide much more of an opportunity because especially if you're taking a look at one of those shorter shot teams, let's say that there is an injury to Max Muncy like I was referencing for the Dodgers. Let's say that you have Cal Raleigh be out of the fold for a little bit of time for the Seattle Mariners. One of these starting pitchers for pretty much any of these teams gets injured. Like, that completely derails them, and then you can sort of just walk away after that series. You could walk away like I'm suggesting with regards to game to game. I really think that that's the way to be playing this playoffs this season, and I'll be giving you guys game-to-game picks every single day on this podcast once we get into the flow of the postseason, which that'll be starting tomorrow. I just frankly don't have anything for you guys on the futures board. It's why, for those of you guys who have been listening over the last few months, in the description and what I've been asking all of our guests, what do we make out of this murky playoff picture? And pretty much all of them have been feeling what I'm feeling. It's like, we have absolutely no idea. That's sort of the year that we've got in baseball, and that's part of why I think that it's so fun, because we don't know what we're going to get. There's no clear favorite. There is no way of telling what we are going to be able to get in October, and this is going to be an absolutely tremendous October, and I'm going to look to try to hit as many bets as humanly possible for you guys. If you do like sharing friends' fine podcast, Baseball Betting Show, you're able to subscribe wherever your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If you have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one of 2 ways we offer those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at gunit_81. Keep in mind, letters CM, they mean does not matter, so as per usual, please do send these into the timeline. The other way is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it is very much appreciated. From there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. And a big thanks to William Boor, who does such great work over at Action Network. He joined me in segment number 2, and I'll be back with you guys once again tomorrow, where we're going to be previewing some postseason baseball. So appreciate you tuning in today, and I'll be back with you once again tomorrow. Thank you.